6.5%, was it? Is that what the current odds are of the Stanley Cup?
Well, and if you look at the round-by-round progression, the Stanley Cup favorite is the Vancouver Canucks.
Like, what a time to be alive!
Talking you through every goalie controversy, scoring slump, and draft lottery bust, this is the C4 Podcast on CanucksHockeyBlog.com. Here they are, the best starting lineup we could afford under the salary cap. Chris, Matt, Anna, and Adam.
Welcome to another episode of the C4 Canucks Hockey Podcast. I'm Chris, she's Anna. This show's brought to you by the two of us, because we special. How you doing, Anna?
All right. That was weird emphasis that you gave to podcast.
Podcast. Yeah, I don't know. I'm off my game. The fact that we're even recording is a miracle because I forgot. Like, I remembered 45 minutes ago.
Yeah. I didn't think I had to text you to remind you about me, but clearly I do, so I will do that next time.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know why I forgot. Like, our rhythm's pretty well established. Just in the back of my mind, I seem to have thought that we had recorded last week and we'd record next week, but that makes no sense because next week's a holiday, which we won't be recording. And then I knew for certain that after next week, we're back weekly because school's in and the season starts to ramp up.
It's coming. Yeah, hockey's coming.
So, yeah. Anyhow,
anyway.
Off my game. What can I say? Long off season.
It has been. It really has been. Like, it's weird because it has been shorter.
Yes, we have had longer off seasons.
Making the playoffs, but it feels long.
Yeah,
I think there's been too much sport this off season. Like
the Olympics.
The Euros. I went to the Cricket World Cup. Like, there was a lot going on.
Of course, what's a who's it doesn't make it. Oh gosh, Common Bowls. Tournament.
I don't know
what
that
called?
is.
I don't know. It's the UEFA equivalent in Common Bowl.
Oh, I see.
Can't remember what it's called now.
No, it's not called the Gold
Copa
Cup.
America.
Copa America, yeah. Yeah, wow.
I'm really off my game.
People.
We're going to be talking about this sport called ice hockey today.
Yeah, and they play it on the ice with a puck, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And lacrosse sticks.
And lacrosse sticks, yeah.
How you doing, Anna? Have you been on your game? Because clearly I haven't.
I mean, I don't think so, really. Like, it's funny. Last episode, we had very little hockey to talk about, and we didn't end up talking much hockey at all. Spent a lot of time on the Olympics and off the rails. Mm-hmm. There's finally some hockey news to talk about.
Yeah, the Canucks made sure of that.
Yeah. So that's good, because otherwise I do feel like we just go a bit loopy.
Well, I mean, we are the best mediocre Vancouver Canucks podcast for a reason. Mm-hmm. We are loopy. There was a post in Canucks Reddit. Someone had asked, hey, would anyone listen to a Reddit-themed Canucks podcast? Should I start one? Something along those lines. I'm paraphrasing significantly.
Reddit-themed? Just like...
Well, I think... what it was is the idea was that Canucks Reddit, like any subreddit, has sort of main characters. Like Canucks Twitter's got main characters and what have you.
Okay.
I suspect the person was trying to posit that they would have a podcast that would resonate well with the subreddit. What's interesting is many of the people who replied to this were like, don't do it. I don't listen to podcasts. Podcasts suck. The only good ones are this, and this. C4 did not show up. But based on some of the commentary, what the people of the Canucks subreddit are looking for are insiders. And I get it. Like, if all you wanted to do is listen to like Sportsnet 650 and Team 1040 back in the day.
Yeah, I mean, we ain't that.
No, and we'd have never claimed to be
different.
But what's interesting is no one said, hey, man, you want to start a podcast? Do it. Yeah. Everyone was saying, don't. And I'm like, really? Like,
Reddit's
what does it
so
matter
negative.
to you?
Yeah.
Well, it's not just Reddit. Like, this happens in Canucks social media and that. Like, I don't care if there's 137 Canucks podcasts.
Yeah.
There may have been 136 when C4 started 463 years ago, but I just did it.
Yeah.
Hey, Clay,
that's
you want to
the
do
thing.
it?
I do
We did
think,
it.
yeah, like, if you have something to say, like, put it out line. No one's going to make you listen to a podcast. So,
You know, wouldn't that be cool if you actually had that ability? If you and I could just reach out and make people listen to our show, and how we have
would
just
you-
spent, like, how long? I don't have a timer
Okay.
up here, but
Well,
how
no, we
5
do. It
minutes is
literally
not even
says
really
5
talking about
minutes.
Canucks.
we do have
I'm sorry,
a
I
timer.
was trying to find it. I saw it eventually. I got there.
That is one thing we do have. Okay, this might be a good place to get back on the rails and finish
Okay,
up
fine.
this intro.
Fine.
If you could pick one person in the Canucks organization to listen to C4, who would it be?
Cami Granato.
Yeah?
Yeah, only because if I knew she was, I would talk Whitecaps with her.
Oh, okay. Not because you want her, like, to take on our views about prospects or...
Oh, no,
whoever.
honestly,
No.
the only thing that I would hope the Vancouver Canucks as an organization would do if they listen to our show was listen to a lot of our takes around hockey culture and say,
Yeah,
we got to make
I
this
mean,
our own.
Me too.
The hockey actual stuff, honest to God.
That's what I would hope seeps in. So I guess I would say Quinn Hughes. And that's only from a perspective
Okay.
as a culture setting individual, I guess.
I mean, I
Although
can't
maybe you
believe
pick
you
someone...
think Quinn doesn't already listen to us.
Yeah, maybe. Although maybe I'd pick someone in the organization. It's hard, because I'm not saying that Canucks get a lot wrong. But, yeah, they could do more, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyhow, we're going to talk about what the Canucks have been up to the past couple of weeks. There is stuff that'll happen in Rewind. We're going to talk a little bit about how some of those things impact the future. That's half full, half empty. And all the other off-the-rail stuff we find a way to weasel into every single one of our shows. But to get there, we first have to rewind. So about a week ago, the Vancouver Canucks made an announcement that they had consummated a trade. They traded... Well, it is correct, is it not?
I mean, I just don't say it, though.
Well, it's, you know...
No one's thinking that when they hear the word consummate.
Well, the Canucks and the Oilers, they got together. They worked a
When
little
two
magic.
hockey teams love each other very much.
So, what we're really getting away from here is the lead. The fact that
sorry.
the Vancouver Canucks acquired a 4th round draft pick in the 2025 NHL entry draft for the one and only Vasily Podkolzin.
Yeah.
So, I'm not going to lie. When I saw this, I'm like, oh. And the Edmonton Oilers part caught me because I'm like, this is a team who's kind of in a little bit of cap trouble. We now know what has transpired. But the St. Louis Blues had come in an offer sheet, a couple of players putting Edmonton into a bind. And ultimately, Edmonton chose not to match either of the offer sheets.
Yeah.
But it occurred to me that if the Vancouver Canucks were looking to dance, that potentially the Oilers might have been a partner where they could have extrapolated something out to help ease Edmonton's cap troubles.
Yeah.
Beyond a pick that doesn't, but hey, whatever. The nitty gritty sounds like Podkolzin was not going to work within the organization's plans. He's not waiver eligible. And unlike the previous regime who lost many a player due to waiver ineligibility, this front office decided to be proactive about it and get something instead of nothing.
Right. And, like, do we wish it was a 3rd round? Maybe, but, like, it's kind of 6 of one, half a dozen of the other at this point. We don't necessarily think the Canucks are going to use their pick. It's picks a currency at this point for a team, like, on the up, like the Canucks are. But, yeah, that's the thing. Something rather than nothing. Podkolzin was a kind of a sunk asset. Hate to use such crude terms for a, like, living, breathing person. He tried real hard, but, like, he's definitely a bust. Like, even if he amounted to be a sort of fourth line player that's still a bust for his where he was drafted. So I do hope it works out for him in Edmonton. Obviously not too well, but I think they kind of knew when they were trading him in division that they were kind of prepared to take that risk.
Well, this is, your second year in a row. I mean, I guess you can consider the offseason part of the next season, that the Vancouver Canucks have traded what they thought was a promising prospect to a team in their division.
Yeah. So it seems like they're not afraid to do that if it's not working out. And it really hasn't been, right? Like, he's had some promising moments, but overall, Podkolzin has not fit in. Even less so with this current crop, current regime, I guess I should say, under Toki, etc. So, yeah, I don't have a problem with it. I'm glad he has a second chance. Glad Canucks got something out of it.
I think for me, it's the something instead of nothing.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like, would have been nice to be a slightly bigger something, but that's kind of fine.
Yeah, I mean, every fan group, including us Canucks fans, want more than what is ever received. It's never quite enough.
Never quite satisfied, it's true.
But again, I think collectively, in comparative to what we saw with the previous front office regime, nothing was the way. Something is always better than nothing. Like, I understand there's this theory that, if you make a bad trade, it goes up on a bulletin board and other teams try to take advantage of you. Yeah. I don't think the market on Podkolzin was all that hot.
No.
So, I mean, it doesn't occur to me that that's the trade that's up on the bulletin board.
Yeah. But it is interesting, right? Like, maybe we should go into the whole offer sheet business. What did you think of Edmonton's handling of both those offer sheets?
Well, in fairness, Edmonton was a team ripe to be
for an
offered.
Offer sheet. Yeah.
Cheated, right? Like, it's still a tool that I feel is underutilized in the league.
Big time.
And I wholeheartedly agree to those who suggest the problem with you as a GM putting an offer sheet out there is you piss those who even aren't touched by it off. There is just this, close-knit community of hockey GMs, the old man's club.
Yeah.
And,
It's a madness, really. Yeah. It's just so underutilized. And I've talked about this before, that, like, it's very similar to man-catting in cricket, which you can look up, but basically is a perfectly legitimate way to dismiss people, but old cricket people don't like it. Lots of cricket people don't like it. But, like, offer sheet is a perfectly legitimate tool, I think, at GM's disposal. And the fact that, like, GMs will do the shadiest stuff to, like, get one up and, like, all the cap finagling. But that is not, bad form to, like, do all the cap shenanigans. But offer sheets are, like, there's a reason it's in, like, there's a whole precursor around it. Like, there's a way of doing things. It's a legitimate thing to do.
The cap shenanigans are affecting you. Yeah, they indirectly affect all the other teams who aren't as successful at the shenanigan part.
Yeah.
But that said, you're doing it. You're affecting you. Offer sheets, are you finding an unwilling dance partner saying, let's dance? And I think that view in this close-knit, community of general managers that continue to be recycled, they hold grudges. I would hope that this may show others that, hey, you got this tool, dust it off. I'm not suggesting the Vancouver Canucks go out there and drop an offer sheet, but the point is that your goal is to make your team better. Your goal should never have anything to do with the feelings of management groups and front offices around the league.
100%. Could not agree more. As to what Edmonton should have done in this particular instance. Are you surprised that they let both of them go? I am.
Yeah, I believe both were like a 4th round pick, or was it a 4th and a 3rd?
Let me just double check.
I can't remember. Like it wasn't a whole lot of compensation.
2nd, 3rd.
Oh, 2nd, 3rd. Okay. Well, I mean, 2nd hurts a little bit, but that said, if you're Edmonton and you're in cap trouble, you're almost being done a favor in getting something rather than nothing. Not to suggest there was nothing on the table, because you sign that player. All Edmonton has to do is just, okay, well, we'll match. We'll sign that offer sheet and player stays with the team. But Edmonton's front office is in a bind of its own making from a historical perspective, the previous front office having gone and put themselves in the position where they are, and in the current front office that I really could wish, tripped on a small rock or stubbed its toe on the edge of a, bed.
The front office collectively, yeah.
Yeah. Then, it doesn't matter. I think, is it a surprise that they let both go? Yeah, but which of the two would you take or keep? Would it be Holloway?
Dylan Holloway. I would keep Dylan Holloway in a heartbeat over Philip Broberg. And not to say Philip Broberg is a waste of ice, but obviously they're both overpayments. That's kind of the nature of an offer sheet. You end up overpaying your asset to keep them. But I just.
But that's the thing, is I think that overpayment.
Broberg $4.5 a year.
But therein lay the issue, right? You're keeping, Holloway, but you're now, you have a problem. You have this problem with or without him. You're not making it any easier for the sake of keeping a player. But hey, you allowed it to transpire.
Yeah, and it's kind of they're both similar age, but you're keeping Dylan Holloway at $2.3 million a year instead of Philip Broberg on $4.5, and I just think he has so much more upside. Right. Obviously, they're different positions, they're different players, but yeah, that's what I would have done. And when they traded away Cody Ceci, that's what I thought they were going to do. But yeah,
who cares? I hope they collectively stub their big toe
indeed.
On the corner of
agree.
A bed. Yeah. Back to the Vancouver Canucks. Ian Clark, who has been considered a guru of the crease in Vancouver for some time, approached the team and asked to be in a role that no longer required him to be on the ice. I mean, I very much am paraphrasing here. But when news broke that he was no longer going to be the goaltending coach for the Vancouver Canucks, and that instead the team was promoting Marco Torinis from Abbotsford, people immediately reacted like, "Oh my God, why the heck are you getting rid of Ian Clark? This is absurd."
I will say, although people love to jump to conclusions on social media, it wasn't helped by the way everyone phrased the tweet, including Rick Dollywell. And shout out to Rick, we love Rick. And we go to him for most of our news. But he will admit that grammar is not his strong point, but the fact that everyone repeated the same phrasing, which made it seem like Ian Clark was leaving to go sign for another team. Mm-hmm. And it was just you can use full sentences in tweets. You've got space, so.
Does he have a check mark?
Huh?
Because if Rick has a check mark, he could probably write an essay. I mean,
yeah, that's
Rick's
true.
pocket has been known to write an essay.
That's true. But yeah, I was just I literally read 3 tweets about the subject. And it was only when people actually wrote the article that I was oh, he's staying with Vancouver. He's just moving to a different position. So
yeah,
yes.
Well, okay, but see, this is where the evolution. First it's oh my God, Ian Clark's leaving the Vancouver Canucks. That's brutal. Then people see you staying with the organization. Holy crap, they demoted Ian Clark.
You're right.
right? It wasn't until your point was that they read the full communication, where in the second paragraph, it clearly states, when Ian approached me to say he needed to make a change in his role to transition off the ice, we quickly went to work to find a solution.
Yeah. And that's the thing. You do keep hold of Ian Clark. If he says he needs to be off the ice, you say, okay, you step off the ice, and you have to think that Trinius will be under Ian Clark's mentorship, instruction in some way, even though he's taken a less active role in training the goalies.
Yeah. So anyhow, I mean, impact, though, does trickle down because the Vancouver Canucks crease has been somewhat of an issue. I mean, in Thatcher we trust. But Thatcher is malleable.
Breakable.
I wouldn't want to say breakable. He bends. Maybe a little too far.
Yeah, sometimes. But yes, the bottom line is he won't be fit to start the preseason. He definitely, and maybe not the regular season.
Which, okay, rewind here. They were talking about how there was the potential for Thatcher Downco to come back to the Canucks for the third round of the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Which just shows, I'm not saying he wouldn't have done it, but you could see, he was nowhere near ready at that point.
But he'd come back.
But he would have done it.
This goes back to our conversation. Has it actually come out what he injured?
His ACL?
See that? Okay. Was it was it a tear? Because we had chatted about this, and I had said my experience was when I tore my ACL. Functionally, there were ways for me to resume without repair. But once repair occurs, there is a timeline. It takes this long before you can then say, "Have at it." And that might, again, I'm not saying that's the case. I don't know if that was the case. Maybe we're barking up the, wrong tree in the wrong forest here. But if the timeline is based on a repair, I think we're talking longer than preseason.
Well, that's the whole thing, wasn't it? During the playoffs, everyone's saying he doesn't need surgery. He definitely doesn't need surgery. It's not that bad. But now it's it's end of August and they're saying there's no way he's going to be ready. Then you're just well, how bad was it at that point? Yeah.
Regardless, if, Seeloffs is the goaltender you're going to lean on to start the season as your starting goaltender, it's kind of nice that the goaltending coach he's been accustomed to down in Abbotsford is now up with the big club.
Yeah.
Who the heck's backing Seeloffs up? Who the heck is backing Thatcher up? If Seeloffs isn't the Seeloffs we remember from the postseason.
Yeah. That's the thing. And I know, in Seeloffs we trust, whatever he's shown, he can compete at a high level and under extreme pressure. He did that on the international stage, and he did that in the playoffs. But, yeah. Canucks aren't a team that can go without Thatcher Demko for a substantial period. They're good, and they're getting better, but they're not great yet. So I do think it's very important that Thatcher is part of that plan. Yeah. The whole question is of the other goalie. Do they want Tolopilo to back Sheelovs up to start the season? I doubt it.
The
Canucks, not actual shade on Tolopilo, who had a great AHL season.
No, but the Canucks were, I remember, free agent Fenji goes through, Canucks make some decent signings. Nothing too crazy. We talked about, hey, the team's got a little cap space potentially to start playing around with, and as the season goes on, that accumulates. Well, here we are now talking about the possibility that the Vancouver Canucks will have to spend some of that cap space to get I'd argue, a journeyman goaltender, right? Someone who's willing to either be backup or is going to be, reliable enough to be your starter until Thatcher comes back. And again, we don't know, where Seeloff's fits into this? Like, if he resumes the way he was playing against Edmonton, no problem. Yeah, you're right. You know, Talapilo is maybe not the guy you want backing him up, but the problem isn't as significant. Peace be with the, Abbey Canucks.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, I was listening to an Arsenal podcast this week, and they were talking about the problems of getting a second choice goalie, and it's just like so hard, right? Because you want someone who's good but not too good, right?
Arsenal didn't Arsenal have a goaltender in their system who they happened to lend out to another team who was plying its trade in the 4th tier of the football system, who now has been bought out by that said team, who's now playing its trade in the 3rd tier?
Possibly. I don't even know who that is, but...
Okay, so go ahead. It's Wrexham. Wrexham had a goaltender who they acquired last year on loan. And I want to say he came out of Arsenal. So if Arsenal's a team who's suddenly in need of a backup...
Oh, Arthur Okonkwo, yeah.
Yeah.
He's from Arsenal, yeah.
What little I know, the reason that he was out on loan wasn't because he was no good. It was that the organization simply.
But the thing is,
he's
the 4th choice goalie. So for the preseason tour, when both Aaron Ramsdale and David Raya, who both were in the Euros final, so they didn't make it back for the preseason tour. So Carl Hein played the whole preseason, so he's a 3rd choice, really. Like, I do think he's probably better than Arthur Okonkwo.
Okay. Well, anyway, it doesn't matter. Arthur's no longer on loan. He got purchased by Wrexham.
Right. But anyway, it is to say, like, and obviously in football, your second choice goalie plays even less because the schedule isn't as punishing. And it's maybe not the same physical demands, but, like, you want a goalie who's able to step up to the plate when called upon, but also happy to not play all that often.
That's the same in the NHL.
Right.
The backup goaltender is the guy who knows his role and is more than willing to enjoy his time on the pine.
Because 1A and 1B is a tough thing to make work. I know Boston have done it. There's a few other teams that have managed it over the years, but, like,
there are far more teams who've tried it and it did not work.
Exactly, 100%. So that's the problem. Do you get a goalie? I think all the sort of goalies kind of rumored towards the Canucks are, like, on the older end. You're in their 30s. Maybe they only have a year left on a contract, something like that. So you'd think it's that kind of situation. DeSmith situation, maybe. Although I think DeSmith is only like 28, so that's probably a bit much. Maybe like end of his contract, Ryan Miller situation. Did he retire after the Canucks?
Yeah, no, he didn't retire after the Canucks, but he has now retired.
Yeah, he went to Anaheim.
Yeah, and I think there was some scuttlebutt. In fact, I think we might have talked about it on the show. Would there have been an opportunity for him to come back and sort of wrap up his career in Vancouver if he wanted to play but understand what his role would be?
Yeah.
I think that was actually been with us last year. Anyhow, the point is, how do they solve the problem in the crease? Haven't a clue. I actually don't know what the Vancouver Canucks can afford.
Peace
be with you, Cap Friendly.
Yes. Well, I'm on Puckopedia now. Puckpedia.
I'm looking at Cap Space, but like I trusted Cap Friendly.
I know, and it's not laid out the same way, and it's not as nice. Yeah. But so Canucks are like $200,000 away from the cap. So this is without LTIR, right? So, how much they have on LTIR? Just 2.5 with Puckopedia.
But anything you spend into that eats up what you would potentially be earning.
Yes, and we've talked about this, but like Canucks' choice is sign another goalie, spend some of that LTIR, whilst also sending someone down to start the year, or Talapilo's backing up. Like, it's best case scenario that Thatcher Demko returns on opening night. best case scenario. And I, for one, am a bit concerned, even if we do see him suit up, then it won't set my mind at ease that he's back to full strength.
Yeah. Oh, well. Time will tell, as it always does.
It will. And I'd be curious, to get a few, what the rumors are saying in terms of names associated. I know Askarov, before he was moved, was one of the names talked about. I think Canucks probably want to pay less and get more than Askarov, but yeah, I'd be curious. Also,
final bit of Canucks news. They have signed a player to a PTO. What's interesting about this, though, is Sammy Blais actually signed a contract with the Abbotsford Canucks.
Yeah, so
he is
playing.
He's going to be playing for a Canucks team.
He is a Canuck.
He, however, has now signed a PTO with the Vancouver Canucks. So why is that interesting? Well, in many cases, a PTO is kind of like a tryout, not only for your team, but the potential.
I mean, that's what it stands for, indeed.
You get picked up by another NHL team. Very few PTO players sign with the team that they have the PTO with. Many, though, will find jobs elsewhere. Sammy's committed. Like, the fact he has an AHL deal, I imagine there's language that would allow for an NHL out, but he has an AHL deal, so.
He's got a job, I guess. Is it, what kind of Canuck? Is he a baby Canuck or a full-size adult Canuck? We will remain to see. But I have actually, I was reading earlier today an interesting article on our friend's Canucks Army about how he notoriously...
does Wyatt still write for Canucks Army?
He does, but... I
was going to say, how can Canucks Army be our friends if they allow...
That's true. But he's not like
the Harlequin, Wyatt Arndt.
He only writes a few.
He knows what he did.
He does know what he did, and he will never be forgiven for that. Mm-hmm. He's not a full-time staff member, though, and it was
doesn't matter.
The domain of our very good friend, Chris Faber, so...
yeah, but Chris ain't there no more.
No, true. Maybe ex-friends of the pod? I don't know.
Yeah, it's very murky.
But yes, I will say, what they were pointing out about Sammy Blais just consistently overperforming in preseason and then that dropping off as soon as the season starts. So, yeah, there's something about September for Sammy.
So September, Sammy, but October, not so much.
Yeah.
Got it. Anyhow, we'll get to talk about Sammy Blais in his preseason in just a few weeks' time. But before all of that takes place, we're going to take a break. You're listening to the Z4 Canucks Hockey Podcast, brought to you by Anna and Chris.
Take hitting out of the game. You can't hit anymore, so don't do it.
The unsportsmanlike conduct, I want to get an explanation on that.
No kidding.
Because how do you get suspended for unsportsmanlike conduct?
Plus interference. There's no interference there. He had the puck.
Now, Madison never ever did that before. Now, why did he do it? Because he was mad.
Well, your early favorite for the Calder Trophy, that's for sure. Elias Pettersson, you might even say your early favorite for the Hart Trophy.
Just to get back to your question, Elias is going to play plenty. He didn't play. He's going to get a lot of power play time. And, yeah, I'm concerned about our offense. We lost 200-point players, and we've got to find a way to score.
So you dropped us in Heffel FMD, where it's with Podkolzin's departure. Reevaluating the Vancouver Canucks at the draft in the last 10 years. Big picture. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's kind of cool because it's going to require me to go and look up what the Vancouver Canucks have been up to at the draft over the past 10 years. And I was actually trying to think before having to look it up. Could I remember really anything over the last 10 years? Because it's been murky.
Yeah.
What are the Vancouver Canucks?
Had 2 first-round picks in the last, 5 years or 4 years?
Yeah, well, and, if there was an Elias Pettersson, the Vancouver Canucks drafted them.
Yes.
Well,
indeed.
actually, didn't they? I think they missed one last season, right?
There was a Pettersson that they missed in the last draft, so that's too bad.
Oh, well. But, going back in time to 2014, I was like, oh, wow, the Vancouver Canucks, that was the year. That was the year where they could have done magical things because they had 2 picks in the first round, 2 of them. And they gave up on one of them far too early.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
And the other one is not to be spoken of.
Agreed. But yeah, do you remember how hyped everyone was at the time for those two? Like,
well, how hyped everyone was for the actual draft where the Vancouver Canucks had 2 first-round picks. When they used that first pick on JV18 at number 6, there was a lot of Whiskey Tango Foxtrot.
Indeed.
But it was explained away as being marketing. And, you know, as a Vancouver Canucks sports fan, I recall a departed basketball team saying, screw the marketing. We don't want a good player who's local. And lo and behold, Steve Nash never became a Vancouver Grizzly. So there is some value. And maybe that's what the Vancouver Canucks were trying to remedy with JV18. But yeah, that didn't work out. But then
literally look at the like 5 people picked after.
I don't want to. I'm only looking at what the Vancouver. This is the thing. As a Vancouver Canucks fan, I have come to learn never look at who else was picked within 2 picks either direction, or even later into the draft.
Yeah, but they did pick up the man of whom we have just been speaking. In that,
Jared McCann.
No, Thatcher Demko.
Well, okay, in the second round, but Jared McCann was in the 24. Like, Jared McCann at 24 was a solid pick.
Yeah.
But the Vancouver Canucks shipped him out for reasons. I mean, if what I recall hearing is correct, the front office didn't really like his way. They identified him as a
gumption
problem. And because of that, which to me, that's the type of thing you can work out of a player.
Especially as such a young player, it just seems a bit mad. But
but they sent him to, you know, the Vancouver Canucks' favorite dance partner when it comes to trades. He got to go to Florida. And
that's right. And then he ended up in Pittsburgh after.
And then eventually
Seattle. He has moved around quite a bit, to be fair. But
he has. But, you know, was he a first? Did that line match a first round pick? Maybe not, but far better than the pick that the Vancouver Canucks used earlier. But you're right. Thatcher Demko, Trampkin was in the third.
Who was promising for a bit.
Yeah, and you know, he wanted more money than the Vancouver Canucks were willing to pay, and that was the old front office. And you know what? Maybe not the end of the world that they allowed him to go, but boy, it would have been nice to have a Trampkin like on the blue line.
Yeah.
I mean,
it does get better.
Yeah,
in 2015.
Brock Besser
at 23, which honestly seems like a steal now, but like, it's not been smooth sailing, but I feel like that's pretty good.
Guillaume Brisebois,
ever present,
in the third round. Yeah,
stalwart.
Adam Gaudette.
Yeah,
like, for what the Vancouver Canucks got in the 5th round.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Like,
Gaudette gave you some decent numbers for a short period of time for a 5th round pick. I think if we think, as we're starting to go through the subsequent rounds, I think Adam Gaudette's value increased because of how crappy the front office was doing at the draft. 2016.
Then there was 2016.
Still waiting for Ollie Elvey to pan out.
Yeah.
5th overall.
I
don't want to look at the 2016. Do you have the 2016 draft up? You can ruin my night by telling me who the Canucks passed up at 5.
No, I would have to find it. Yeah. 2016.
I shouldn't have encouraged you.
Do you know who's drafted directly after Ollie Juolevi?
Who?
Matthew Tkachuk.
I knew it was a Tkachuk. I just couldn't think of which one.
Yeah, Clayton Keller, Alex Nylander.
Yeah, that's enough.
Sergachev.
You've hurt my feelings, ruined my night.
Tyson
2017.
Tyson Jones, Charlie McAvoy. Oh my god.
Okay, 2017. The Vancouver Canucks drafted Elias Pettersson.
So I mean,
number 5. See, the thing about Pettersson at 5, when his name was called out, I remember being at a party and people were like, what in the actual, because, no one thought that this young kid out of Sweden would amount to anything. And
the amount of times we had in that off season about his weight.
Oh,
drove me crazy.
I think Central Scouting had him mid to late first round, and here the Canucks were using their 5th overall to grab him.
Yeah, and the fact that Jim Benning wanted Cody Glass over him, who'd just been traded
Allegedly.
this off season, right? Yeah.
And we have to say allegedly. We don't know for certain.
Yeah.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah, because there's some good players that went after Elias Pettersson, but no one better than him.
The Canucks had quite a few picks in that draft. They got Cole Lind, Jonah Gadjovich, Michael DiPietro, Jack Rathbone. These are all players who got NHL time. Of those 4, Lind, Gadjovich, DiPietro, Rathbone, who got the most NHL games?
Okay, Lind,
Gadjovich, DiPietro, Rathbone.
Lind?
No. Lind, 31. Gadjovich, 118.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean,
that surprises me. I was torn between the two of them, but I was just like, it's pretty similar, isn't it?
You could, by process of DiPietro, Micah DiPietro, goaltender. Hard for them to get game action. Yeah. But, Gadjovich got 118 games.
I'm kind of surprised.
Yeah. 2018. Yes. That's a pretty decent draft for the Vancouver Canucks.
Sorry to go back to 2017. I just went to the full draft that Nick Suzuki was in that draft.
I think I recall. I couldn't tell you.
I would have said he was older than Pettersson. No. Maybe that's just because he's a captain, but no.
Well, young kid. That's, when I think Montreal threw the C on his jersey, they didn't really have much of anything else.
Yeah, it's true. It is Montreal, but that surprised me.
2018, the Vancouver Canucks with the 7th overall pick in the first round drafted a kid named Quinn Hughes. You might have heard of him.
Yeah, I think they did pretty good in that draft. The fact that Quinn Hughes dropped to them was just,
Jet Woo?
Sure. May? I mean, our pod favorite, Jet Woo, who just got engaged, by the way.
Oh,
Instagram tells me. Congratulations, Jet. We love you, obviously. I mean, sure. Maybe a bit high, but it's fine.
Tyler Madden, Tony Utonen, Artem Manikayan, Matthew Thiessen. Yeah, guys. 2019. 2019 is the draft as to which Vasily Podkolzin was picked at 10th overall in the first round.
Yes, I was there.
However, played fewer games as a Vancouver Canuck than the guy the Canucks picked after him in the second round, pick 40, Niels Hoglander.
Yeah.
And as we'll have it, unless something crazy happens, Podz will never catch up to Hoglander, games played as a Vancouver Canuck.
Right. And then in the 6th round, playoff hero.
A guy named Jack Malone. Well, you're talking about Artur Silovs.
Yeah. That's a good draft. Even though, in the mid-rounds at least. But, Paul Colson, he's a bust. It's true. And poor kid couldn't even get his name pronounced correctly.
The guy, it's a good draft. The Vancouver Canucks had 9 picks in 2019. The Canucks had 8 in 2017. But beyond that,
and
not a whole lot.
The thing is, there are better players that were picked below Podkolzin, but no one, that you're like, whoa, that was a miss.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't a very strong first round, at least, below them.
Yeah, but one of the last seasons for a while for the Vancouver Canucks to draft in the first round, because in 2020 they had to wait until the third. Not much to say about the 2020 draft. Urano, Kuntz, Truscott, Zolodev, Person.
Yoni Urano's interesting.
Yeah.
Zolodev could be interesting, but overall a bit meh.
Yeah. 20 another draft that the Vancouver Canucks had to wait. I mean, in the second round, they got Danila Klimovich,
who is maybe like he showed intermittent progress, but he's a bit of a Podkolzin in terms of potential.
And then late round picks in Koskeville, Myronberg, Gabrielson, Lockhart, Forsell.
Yeah, and I think Koskembo, I have a feeling we were meant to pronounce it differently, but I don't remember how.
Couldn't tell you.
Might still be someone that could show up, but yeah, at the moment.
2022, Canucks got a pick in the first round, 15 overall, took Jonathan Lekkerimäki, sorry.
Seems like a, great pick.
Yeah.
At the moment.
There was an Elias Pettersson available by rule. The Vancouver Canucks had to take him in the third round, 80th overall.
Again, great pick.
Let's see here. They
David
got Ty
Garner,
Young.
Don't know who that is. Ty Young, could be someone. Even though I think
Whatever happened to Kirill Kudryavtsev?
I forget. I feel like we've heard of him recently, but I don't remember what it is. It's really hard to spell that.
2023 draft, Tom Willander, 11th overall. Hunter Bruskowitz, who was considered at the time in the third round to be a pretty solid pick. Sawyer Minio.
Sawyer Minio, who's still good. I think he's playing in Seattle.
Sure, I don't remember. Vilmer Ellerkson, Matthew Perkins, and then Celebrini. Difference is the older one in Aiden.
Yeah.
Who's considered to be a character, depth guy, real good player to have around. Canucks, however, picked him 171. So we'll see if Aiden works out.
Yeah. Obviously, he seems like a great kid, but yeah, it's not quite the same hype.
And then with the 5 picks they had over the course of 2024, we had to wait until the third round when they picked Melvin Fernstrom, followed by Riley Patterson, Anthony Romani, Parko Alkos, and Basil Sansonens. Which I may have mispronounced. Who knows?
I'm sure you have, but I don't know how to actually pronounce it. So
yeah, if we look at sort of these draft years as to players who had games played, right? Like collectively, the 2014 draft would arguably be one of the best. That would then be followed by the 2015 and then the 2017, 2019, 2018 about even based on players alone. 2019 beats out 2018. But since the 2019 draft, no pick that the Vancouver Canucks have made has cracked the NHL lineup.
Right. And I think Lekkerimäki is the closest, but yeah.
But you have to consider, the Vancouver Canucks went on a spell where each draft they had a player crack a lineup. Brock Besser, not the star season near the end. You had sort of this evolution, but there was a guy if he wasn't going to be in the season immediately, you knew he was going to be knocking on the door one full season out.
Yeah, but
that hasn't happened.
The thing is, they squandered their best years in the draft, as in following their worst years in the league, where they might have had high picks. Sure, they weren't as high as we kind of wanted them to be because Canucks luck in the draft lottery sucks. But Quinn Hughes, great pick. He did kind of fall to them at 7, but great pick. Pedersen, great pick. But 5th round pick, wasted. 5th overall pick, wasted on Olli Levy. 10th overall pick, probably wasted on Podkolzin. That's just... And then we had years of them trading away their first round picks. So it's just, I think it's bound to be disappointing. But, you kind of hope that your disappointing draft years follow really successful years in the league, which isn't really necessarily the case for the Canucks. Obviously, we hope they're better managed under this current front office, but...
I'm just actually looking back in time now. The Vancouver Canucks in 2003 had a metric ton of picks. Now, granted, 9 rounds of draft to go through. But they had 10 picks in 2003.
Okay.
Only 2 of those picks got to double digits game played in the NHL. Only one of those picks got to triple digits. That player actually got to quadruple digits. Their first round pick, 23rd overall, Ryan Kesler.
But that is the opposite of a who's who, that draft class list.
The 2002, slightly bigger, and I mean, they got a game out of Rob McVicker. They got 11 out of Brent Skinner. Actually, he may not have gotten 11. He might have been traded for all I remember. The only name that I even sort of recall in that list was Kirill Koltsov, just as the up-and-coming blue liner never worked out.
Yeah. It's a rough kind of time.
My goodness. Just looking, the Canucks, it's just been...
but Yannick Hansen was drafted in the 2004, in the 9th round. Crazy. I knew he was a low round guy, but I didn't realize how low down he was.
But it's unreal that the Vancouver Canucks, like, you look at, decades of draft picks, and there's very few that see a significant amount of success in the NHL. Like, Matt Cook in 97, obviously the Sedins in 99. Let's see, who's gotten over 1,000 games in the NHL. So Ryan Kesler would have been the most recent 1,000 games played.
How many games does Alex Edler have?
But was Edler drafted after Kesler was?
No, he was drafted in 2004.
Yeah, no, but
third
like...
round. Sorry,
right, what I'm getting at is, like, so it's just going back, and so, Edler 2004 was 1,000 games. Ryan Kesler, Kesler 2003, slightly over. You're right. So Edler has it by a year, but then Edler is going to play until he's 407. Did he actually retire now?
I don't think he has a team, right?
Yeah, but that doesn't mean he's retired.
No. I don't.
Let's see, Sedin's in 99. Got Matt Cook in 97. At Matthias Olin 909, that's close enough in 94.
Okay.
Adrian Aucoin, 5th round pick, 92.
Did you know that Alex Edler isn't actually Alex Edler?
No, what is he?
Cryptic. Did you know that his name is Ulf Niklas Alexander Edler? So it's one of his middle names.
Interesting. Did not know that.
I can kind of see why he went with Alexander, but UFA. We'll see what happens with Alex. They should give him one of those one-day contracts. Come retire as a Canuck. Yeah, I don't think he thinks he's done yet, though, which is tough.
Yeah. Anywho.
Yeah.
Crazy.
But that is to say that the Canucks draft history, I would say, is, aside from a few very starry stories, kind of underwhelming. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, and this front office, they've only had really 2 drafts under their belt. One might argue they've only had 1.
But Likamaki, I think,
they didn't get a full season.
A passion project with... Not passion project, but I do think... I'm not just saying that because he's Swedish, but, I think Olvin really believed in him, so I do think was very much a pick of this front office, but yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully
but it is concerning that even if we go further back, like 2021, no games played. 2020, no games played. So none of these drafts since pandemic have amounted to much for the Vancouver Canucks, 2019 being the last one. And of the players who've got games played, arguably Seeloss and Höglander are the only 2. who remain Vancouver Canucks.
Yes. We'll see. I mean, a few remain to be seen.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, season's fast approaching. We still got a holiday in between that, Labor Day. So we won't be here next week. Don't tune in or listen to our back catalog. But we'll be back in September. We're going to go back to weekly record, which may or may not be a good thing because who knows what there'll be to talk about. But at least, preseason activity and we'll be able to talk about camp and the fact that the Sedins are still machines that, go up and down the grouse grind for kicks.
Yeah. Yeah. I was thinking about that the other day. I don't remember why.
I've never been up to the grouse grind, nor do I ever
would
plan on doing it.
Yeah, I wouldn't advise it. It's not even for people
I'll
who
take
like
the gondola
hiking.
that breaks down.
Yeah. That's better, safer.
Mm.
I put a last tidbit on the rundown, and that's just about Quinn Hughes making the NHL cover. And like all things in life that older brothers have to do, you got to bring along your kid brothers. So,
And free the skate.
Brothers, yeah. But it is cool. Like having a player on your team, your captain is one of those superstar kind of levels, and it helps that he has two brothers. So I do think we always talk about hockey as like a marginal sport, right? And I still think 90% of non-hockey fans could probably name McDavid and Crosby, if anyone. But anyone that knew us didn't really know about hockey, but could name a couple players. Quinn Hughes might be one of them, right? He is on that level now, which is cool to see.
Yeah.
I'm still not going to play NHL anything, but
EA Sports, it's in the game.
Yeah. Local product that it is, made in
On
Burnaby.
their Burnaby campus.
Yeah.
I think they still have the campus in Burnaby.
Yeah, it is still there. Yeah. I've applied to EA more than once. Not for
so have
NHL, it has to be said.
Yeah, I've never even gotten a prelim interview, so
Neither.
I haven't said the magic words to get through the
But apparently
recruitment system.
Yeah. I know people that work for them, and I think it sucks if you work for FIFA, but otherwise it's good.
Well, first of all, EA no longer has FIFA.
Yes, but
FIFA has FIFA.
FIFA has FIFA, but
EA has
what was
EAFC.
that? A year ago that they lost it?
Well, yeah, FIFA ultimately decided, we're FIFA. We don't need you.
Yeah.
EA's like, okay. So EA creates EAFC.
Yeah,
they produce a good quality product. They get a deal directly. Instead of being FIFA overarching, they get a deal with all the teams in there anyway. So EAFC is a game. FIFA doesn't have a title, a game in the market.
Yeah.
I don't know who their new partner is, but it's FIFA doing FIFA things.
Yes, exactly. It's almost like it's a badly governed, kind of shady institution.
FIFA makes the NHL look like a well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
That's in it for the people.
Which is scary.
I know, right? Oh, man. You know what? You and I should spin up a podcast where we just talk about soccer.
Yeah.
Off the rails stuff all the time, though.
I was going to say, if it's about the MLS, I might struggle.
No, but I have a vague understanding of what's going on in the EPL. I have a better understanding in MLS. I think we'd balance each other out, but we wouldn't take ourselves seriously.
Yeah.
We'd have a good time. Your mom, having said that, Hyan's mom, is probably going to be all up about it.
Yeah. She'd actually understand it a bit more, so she might enjoy it.
Oh, okay. Well, no, but when I got to meet your mom, go for drinks this year, which was pretty darn cool, and I had sort of, said, soccer or something, and she's been wanting me to start it up.
Yeah. Oh. She's very encouraging.
It's like I have all this extra time that I can spend recording and producing podcasts. Mm-hmm. I can barely handle one, and at one point I had 3. Anna, what final words of wisdom do you have for everyone this week?
I feel like I thought of something at the beginning of the show, but I didn't write it down, and I think I probably have ADHD. Not because I've forgotten this, but for other reasons. But I say probably because I don't actually know. And I think this little ramble is probably further evidence of this. Anyway, that is all to say. I don't remember. But I'm excited for, us to go back on a weekly schedule because that means hockey is coming back. So I'm excited for that.
Words of wisdom from me. When you're marinating something, have patience. It's amazing how much better it is with a 24-hour marinade than a 1-hour marinade. Let me tell you. Just saying.
Yeah, so let it marinate. I think that's good life advice.
Yeah. I this garlic parm marinade that I made. Oh, Anna.
I mean,
to die for.
I would probably die if I had it, seeing as the whole I'm allergic to garlic thing, but...
Well, wait. So you're allergic to garlic? Is there something that... Do you like to hang out at night?
I know. I've had this before, especially as I'm incredibly pale.
Do you have an aversion to silver?
No, actually I prefer silver, so...
Oh, okay. Well, then
that's where it falls down.
Well, I will not feed you my garlic parm marinade.
Yeah. As delicious as that sounds, I would probably explode and not a good way.
Do not want Anna to explode.
Yeah.
Would need to find a new co-host. Very bad.
Yeah. Good summary.
You can look at our back catalog, or at least what's available at c4podcast.com. It's all there. You can also go to c4podcast.com /support if you wish to throw a few bucks our way to shut us up and to, also give us copious amounts of wobbly pops. Because that sends you to buy me a coffee, or as Anna and I like to call it.
Buy me a pint.
You can do that either on a one-off basis, a monthly basis, recurring, or annual basis. And if you do it annually, you get one of those exclusive C4 Canucks Hockey Podcast stickers. I still got a bunch here. Maybe we do something at some point, and those who come get one. I don't know.
I think that's a neat idea.
Yeah. I mean, we talk. We have lots of ideas. Very few of those ideas ideate.
Yes, we are all talk and no trousers. But we will let that one marinate.
Well, how do you know? You can only see so far.
Okay, cut.
You talking to HR? Well,
yeah, I am literally HR at my work desk.
So. Oh, well, so you're taking my job. Well, probably for the best. You can find us on social media at the C4 Podcast, except for Threads, where we're at the real C4 Podcast. But on behalf of Anna, A403, and myself, Chris Allied Force, signing off with We Out.